There was a lot of good traders and no one knew what to do. But it was all this buzzwords of, algos are going to take over the world, so you better do something. So when you do find something that works and you think, oh, I've cracked it, but it's not easy. It wasn't easy then, and it's still probably not easy now. Even the oldest traders have got some system. Doesn't matter what that system is, even back from working on the trading floor, you know it yourself, your system might just feel what's going on. Rather than even trying to go to a full system, it's more data analysing, it's understanding generally maybe what you're doing to kind of flag up.
So it's helping you clarify probabilities then, basically?
100%.
Welcome to another episode of our interview series. Today we have a truly exceptional guest joining us, a visionary who is literally reshaping the landscape of trading analytics with artificial intelligence. For over 25 years, he's been a powerhouse in finance, from investment banking and fintech to over a decade as a professional futures trader. He's been in the trenches, surrounded by hundreds of top traders, and has distilled that immense experience into a groundbreaking patent-pending technology. He's the founder and CEO of TradrLab, an AI-driven analytics company that's breaking down the biggest barriers in strategy building. Their platform translates natural language into complex market models, enabling incredibly fast, code-free scenario testing and analytics. Lee, welcome, mate.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Great to be here, and good to see you, Jason.
Yeah. Well, I've known Lee for a very long time, and I've been wanting to get him on this podcast for quite a long time because, we really got to get into TradrLab. It really is fascinating. I've played with it. It's an incredible technology. But just before we get into that, let's find out how you started in the world of financial markets.
A bit like you, Jason. It goes back a while. I don't know how much time we got, but we'll scan through this. Basically, I did used to work for investment banks, but on a different side. I was a network engineer. I ended up basically started on a graduate program. ABN AMRO was very well looked after. They sort of sent me around the bank in different places, worked on the trading floor, decided I wanted to sort of move into the networks and security area and really focused on that. While I was in that area, I learned a lot straight away. I could see what was going on in the bank. I could see actually what people were doing or not doing, which was always interesting. Who was actually making the money and who was sort of pushing paper. But it was great. I mean, I was as I said, really, really well looked after and happy. And I sort of moved from there to another bank for a while, and then I made the jump and went and actually to a startup in Gibraltar, which actually probably when me and you got to know each other, Jason.
About 20 years ago?
25 years 2000 ago. Yeah, exactly. 2004, 2003. I went there 2004, really got into it, which was, I mean, that again really got me into the trading world. I was always very much interested in, but again, I set systems up. I did all of their general sort of IT stuff, as in, making sure that everything was working. But they didn't really have a lot, considering coming from a bank. There wasn't much more to do. So I moved quite heavily into the broking side for them. And then algos started, everyone started talking about algos, and it was like, oh, we better start doing some stuff on that. And I very much started working with traders then. I mean, we can.
So that's interesting. How did you develop that? Because algos is something I've worked on, not enough, but I've struggled with it. So what was your approach? How did you make it work?
It was pretty much what you just said there, Jason. There was a lot of good traders, and no one knew what to do. There was all these buzzwords of, algos are going to take over the world, and all this sort of stuff, and so you better do something. So I kind of worked with the traders that were discretionary traders that couldn't code, didn't really have a clue on that sort of side of it, but knew how to trade, and sort of systematically went through what they were trying to do, And we used systems at the time that were out to try to do this, and basically went back to the old traditional way of coding. So we hired a coder to sort of help us do that. So we work very closely, really, with traders like yourself. It wasn't easy. Believe me, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy from lots of different angles, really. But
You're saying it's still not easy, or did you have some success in the early days?
yeah, we had success at getting some of their ideas, let's just say, into a systematic way. But some of those ideas are very discretionary, as in it's built into the trader. I find that even the oldest traders have got some system the way they do it. They might not feel they do, but there is a system. It doesn't matter what that system is. Even back from working on the trading floor, you know it yourself. Your system might be something you might just feel what's going on. Go, well, that's my buzz to see what's happening. But
There's
they've
a
got some
sixth sense
system.
element to it, isn't it? When there's experience, I notice myself. I'll look at charts and I'll be
Yeah,
like, "Nah, I'm not going to take that trade." Could I really explain it to you? Probably not. I just don't feel
yeah.
it's right. But sorry to interrupt you.
No, no, no. Please do. Yeah, but because exactly, you know it yourself. So it's not an easy process to translate that what you're actually doing on a day to day basis into
Mm,
a system. You can do certain things, and what I find is just kind of using it as extra tools, like other things to give you that
exactly.
extra little bit of a indicator or
Sure.
confidence or whatever it is to do it. I find it's more to do with, rather than even trying to go to a full system, it's more data analyzing. It's understanding generally maybe what you're doing to kind of flag up. Oh, yes, I have seen this quite a few times happen, and when that's happened, what has generally happened? And you might have inside of you, it might be true, but it might not be. So you try and
Okay.
sort of
So it's
validate
helping
that.
you clarify probabilities, then, basically.
100%. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty
Okay.
much the way I see trading all the time. It's just really, really, if you keep it simple, it is probability that something is going to happen more times than not when you
Right.
see some event happen.
Sure. And if it helps you to have a 60% win rate, that's all you can ask for.
That's all you can, exactly. And with a good bit
Yeah.
of order management, risk, and all the rest of it, you've got a very
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
trading system.
Edge and probabilities. That's all it is. There's no holy grail.
Yeah. You
It's
don't need
interesting, actually.
much. Yeah, exactly. You don't need that much. When you hear these, oh, we've got this percentage win rate and this and that. Sometimes you don't actually need a lot of, edge or probability on your side with extra, discipline and order management and everything as well in place to have that system. So, but it's not easy. It's not easy. It wasn't easy then, and it's still probably not easy now. We're going to move into that. It's not like, I know the
Yeah,
messaging
we
might
are.
say, come in and create your trading strategy in minutes and walk away. I mean, if it was that easy, what would we be doing here now?
Well, you and I would be billionaires for a start.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be
Um,
doing this. None of us would be doing
no,
anything.
no, I
So
wouldn't be sitting here interviewing you.
yeah,
You and me, we'd be on a yacht
yeah,
somewhere, but we're not.
yeah,
But actually, it's a really important message for people who are watching, especially people who are trying to get into trading or they've been at it for a year. Um, you know, people come to me and they're like, they think they're going to be this expert trader within a year, and I just think you've got no idea. It's a 2 or 3 year journey at best.
yeah,
Most people give up, and even you know they think there's a holy grail. They think there's a strategy out there that if they can just find the strategy or refine it, then all their prayers are answered, and they're
oh,
just going to churn money week after week, month after month. And
yeah,
you and I can tell them with our 60 years of
yeah,
experience or more that that doesn't happen. You've just nailed it. It's just maximizing probabilities and combining that with a small edge, and then incorporating risk management, trade management, account management, and trying to control the psychology in your head. And if you can do all of that, you might end up with a profit at the end of the year. But whether you end up with a profit every month is not necessarily
yeah.
guaranteed, even then. And the best traders
No.
don't make money every single month without fail.
Yeah, well, back in the good days, I think we done all right. Well, I did pretty well. I mean, but it's certainly, I think the point is from what you're saying, it's been being adaptable. It's being able to adapt yourself to changing times. I mean, we've seen it so much, and you do
Yeah.
get something that works, and you think, oh, I've cracked it, And when you do find something that works, you need to be, again, understand that it's easy to look back. It's easy, hindsight, but you can look back at trading performance, like we just said there, and thought, blimey, I was having an absolutely amazing run. Yeah, what I was doing then was really, really working. If you can notice that really quite early on, then the best thing I would say is try and take as much money as you can out of it while it's working, but be disciplined enough when it actually stops to work to actually identify there's something that might not be here, and don't go and
Yeah.
start giving it all back.
Adaptable. I like it. You're right.
Yeah,
Markets constantly change. So you transitioned eventually from
yeah.
the coding side of things to actually being active in markets. How did that work?
It worked quite simply where I was I was always very interested in it. I looked at as you said, I was even sort of trading small, as in spread betting and things like that. My first, even when I was at ABN AMRO, it was just like try and make 20 ticks a day seemed to be my thing, on some of the old spread betters. But really, it's just playing around with things. But I went full time in 2000. Well, I basically took redundancy from Gibraltar, and I said to the wife basically, we can go back to London now and may as well go and get another job. She quite liked it where we were. So I said, well, with the money that I have, I might as well go full-time trading and see what happens. It wasn't quite as like, oh, I'm just going to jump, like as you say, from being no one to going full-time trading. I was living it sort of quite a bit. And lucky enough, when I went full-time trading, it was great markets. Well, good markets for me, maybe not for some.
You're trading oil, is that right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I got heavily into commodities. I started trading the Dow Jones initially because I quite liked the moves, the way it was working. Then I moved very much into the FTSE and the DAX opens. I was doing a lot on those, and that's when I went full time. And then basically we used to have a little strategy we used to do in the mornings, like loads of people do. The normal sort of opening session. We done very well on that. But it was like, after 2 hours, the way I always work as well is in sessions, which maybe we can come onto or not come onto. So I did that session, and it was like the fella that I was working with pretty much went, well, I'm going to go to the beach or wherever it was, which we were quite near there. So he kind of went, which is fine. He was a bit older than me and said to himself, that's it, I've done for the day. I was keen and sat there pretty much just looking at markets, and I got really heavily into commodities. And yeah, oil was my main thing, Brent and WTI and gas oil.
So that's interesting. Your trading partner had a target for the day. If he hit it within the first 2 hours, bang, done. I'm off to the beach. And I guess he was pretty consistent then. He made money most days, did he?
Yeah.
He just had
We used to make money.
Worked in the morning session, and that was it.
Yeah, the morning session was one of them trading strategies. I would say was very consistent. We didn't lose a lot if we lost. We on the upside we couldn't make fortunes. Yeah, so it was always a certain amount that you could do, but it was a lovely strategy. I mean,
4 days out of 5 you're going to make money, and the down day was
you're going to
not
make
that bad,
money,
kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Can
So
you
over the month.
us?
I can explain some of it. I mean, some of the spread bettors might not like us. We'll see how we go from there. But basically, the way the FTSE used to work, they used to provide an opening. Sorry, they used to provide a price when the market was closed overnight.
Right.
So we would basically look to see what price they were offering through multiple spread betting companies. So bid and offer was generally quite small because they was quite wide at the time when the markets weren't open, and look at them and pretty much see whether they were where the price was. Did we think we could buy them or sell them, and then we'd hedge it against the market when it opened.
So you're kind of arbing the spread bettors against the futures market.
Yeah, pretty much so. Exactly. It was quite good, and I've got loads of experiences and probably funny stories with the spread bettors that closed me down, sent me nice checks saying thanks for it. Sorry, we can't offer you the service. That I said, your service is great. I don't know what the problem is, but
you're making money.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't really like that at the time, so yeah, fair enough. But
Good
it all
story.
changed again. Being adaptable, it changed when it went onto ICE. Went onto ICE exchange. They kept the market open for longer. It didn't really do much, but it was just really thin markets, and it just kind of just petered out. So
Okay.
yeah, that was that one. But yeah, there's been loads more over the years, as I say, that sort of come and go for different reasons. So you've
Right.
always got to keep on top of
Right.
things.
No one strategy has stood the test of time decade after decade.
No, no.
No.
I mean, I would imagine that you've got. I mean, obviously hedge funds that do things in certain ways, but I think they are mean reversal strategies, just general normal strategies that I think that you can make nice returns from.
Hmm.
But maybe not the returns that we were used to making
Sure.
sort of monthly on the account size we have. Obviously, it's completely different. Risk, things like that, it's completely different from us. A hedge fund can't go and do the sort of risk that we can perform, and they can't go and do the sort of things that we were doing. And they've got massive account sizes. So, them making, if they can make 10% a month, then obviously that's great. If we were making 10% a month, it probably wasn't, I wouldn't turn it down, but it probably wouldn't been enough to pay all the bills and everything else. And our costs at the time as well. Our costs at the time, well, they were expensive. Yeah,
2 or 3 grand a month.
it was. Yeah, you used to have to obviously go through. We used to go for a proper clearer and everything else, which means you've got to pay certain things there. Obviously, we had cheaper fees and things like that. But as you say, you got all your systems you pay for, and it would be, as you say, 2, 3. Then I'd hire in developers, so that's another 4 grand a month, and before you know it, you're really eating into quite a big sort of outlay
Big chunk of
before you
money.
even
Yeah, sure.
do
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
No, it's a friendlier environment for retail traders these days with
Yeah.
news flow and information and costs and everything
Oh,
else.
yeah, it's completely different nowadays. Probably it's a bit. I mean, it's always been that way, but nowadays it's got even worse with sort of an influx of information. It's now almost trying to get through the noise, trying to
True.
understand what's important to
Hmm.
you, and what's important to you might be different. What's important to me. So it's trying to understand that sort of side of
The
it. But
filter.
yeah,
You need a filter. So when did the idea for TradrLab start? Was that you're the CEO and you're the founder. That was your original idea, I assume, yeah?
yeah. So it started. I mean, we could go back to in 2012. So after I started trading full time, the first sort of 4 or 5 years, I was heavily trading. Didn't do anything other than sort of sitting there trading, looking at my charts and analysing data in spreadsheets and everything else. Then my spreadsheets just got full up. Just you'd sit there at night doing all sorts of stuff, wake up the next day and think, wow, what have I done here? And it just got too much. So I started to hire developers probably before that. I'm just thinking, actually, I've got a mark of when MF Global went under, and that's kind of changed things a lot. Because
Hmm.
before that, I started hiring developers, and I remember trying to translate what it is I was trying to do. And it was really difficult. It was really difficult because they didn't understand markets. I wasn't a coder like a heavy coder like they were.
So that
But
language is
it
it?
was just exactly. You would sit there and you'd think, you describe it all, give it to, whatever way it was, and it just didn't really happen. So and that was probably in 2000, sort of end of 2010, 2011. Then I really started to get more into the fact of testing out other systems, and I started really heavily looking at some expensive systems out there that maybe I could use, and it still wasn't really doing what I wanted to do. The big boys, the Bloombergs, the Reuters, this and that. I went out and met them, said this is what we was trying to. They said that's no problem. We can certainly do what you want, which I'm no doubt they could. But it was going to cost me, well, a lot of money to get started. But the worst thing was actually the outlay every month. It was going to go through the roof. And I wasn't, I'm not a hedge fund. I wasn't anything like that. So it was like, that doesn't make sense. And actually, one of the fellas that used to work on the life floor, he was working at Reuters, said to me, probably the best thing for you, especially with your background and whatever else, is probably develop a system yourself.
Yeah.
So that kind of led me into that, and that's kind of where, well, I would say that TradrLab started, but is where I really got into it. And I got together with our CTO today. He had been a quant, worked for Barcat, HSBC. He was at MathsWorks. He was their main consultant, and I pretty much hired him to come over to where I was, and we spent 6 weeks together, literally hashing out exactly, what it is I was thinking about doing. And we decided we started to create a platform that was not, it was for me and for people around me. And it wasn't going to be commercial. It wasn't like we're going to go and make this commercial at the time, but it was a platform where it meant I could go in myself and actually create things. Even though it was a quant, at least I could talk, we could talk the same language. And it was done through a drag and drop functionality. So we could create very complicated models through basically blocks. And he was very experienced at that. So kind of where it started there. I might as well bring us a bit more up to date. Otherwise, we're going to be here for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So that started, and we used it, as I said, and that was cool. It wasn't very pretty. It had nothing, no licenses, and then I went through a bit of a transition. As we said, with trading, started looking at cryptos, looking at all sorts of other things. As I got a bit nervous with crypto, especially as we said about MF Global and stuff and whatever happened there. I actually went traveling with my kids at the time, and that was a great experience. Maybe we could go into it at some stage, but that was really, really cool experience of trading while I was sort of traveling. And why I thought about TradrLab was after this journey of cryptos, it's all this other stuff going on. I see TradingView. I've taught people to trade, but it's never been like a training course. It's always been like, hey, and it's always been friends or family that have drove me mad. Generally, they want to give you money to trade. And I'll say, look, what happens if you give me the money and I lose half of it tomorrow? How are you going to feel? So it kind of put them off straight away. Anyone that tries to ask me to teach them to trade, I usually try and put them off and then see how it goes. But a couple of them were very, very determined. And when MF Global did go under, I said to a friend of mine that I went to university with, hey, I've got something for you. If you fancy doing this, I'll tell you what we'll do. You fund the account and I will trade it and I'll show you everything that I'm doing. So we did that for a while. And in the midst of all that, coming back to where you were saying, I was looking at these companies like TradingView because I was getting more and more involved in a bit more sort of retailing and sort of seeing, people were coming to me. I'd like fitness instructors that were saying, oh, I've now gone on a training course. I'm paying all this money out and I'm still not making money. What should I do? And I was just, giving them just free advice, just talking to them and everything else. So they were coming to me with these platforms and going, hey, I'm using this charting package. And I thought to myself, blimey, it can't be very good. It's free or it's 50 quid a month. I'm paying all this money out for my charts. Why would it be any good? And then just see how that company grew and grew. And obviously the unicorn it is today. So I looked at that. I thought to myself, well, this platform that we built, which was actually in MATLAB back at the time, I thought to myself, well, why don't we make it so that actually a trader can come in with an idea and be able to get that idea and make a model from that. So like what TradingView did with charting, we would do that with data modeling. So I don't know if that's a marketing way of saying it, but that's pretty much what went through my head. And so we thought to ourselves, right, okay, let's have a look at it. So we started speccing it up, and I was talking to, say, Ali, the CTO, and we started showing it around. So we started the company and started looking into things. And at that same time, we've always been into AI or neural networks. We wouldn't really call it AI, neural networks. We looked at it for quite a while. We had a neural network of trying to predict what's going on, and it didn't really do anything at all. It was like, oh, blimey, forget that. So, but the AI scene, let's say ChatGPT, that come around, I looked at this, I thought to myself, wow, this is definitely a change here. So we were very, very early then. So I thought to myself, well, look, rather than making it where someone has to go in and actually, make this diagram themselves, do this actual part of themselves, why don't we make it where someone can come in with an idea? They literally write what they want, and we will talk back to them as a developer would to try and get that idea into the best possible way. And then from there, we'll translate that into a model. Okay. We didn't have a clue whether it was going to work or not. We really didn't. And that was, We followed that pattern back in October 2023. So very early on, and we did it, and very, very crude at the time, and it works. So we've just been constantly from there building the back end to make that better and better and better. And the way, the way AI is moving nowadays, it's incredibly fast. So our
Are
whole
you constantly
infrastructure has
having
moved.
to build and optimize? I assume it's an ongoing project.
It's an ongoing project, yeah. It's ongoing the way it is. We've tried all sorts of techniques. We've moved from different models. We're quite agnostic. With the model we use, we can move it quite quickly. But you move along. We've done lots of fine tuning. Then you do fine tuning, and then they go and change the model. So you think, what do I do? Do I stay with my model that's fine tuned, or do I move into the? So it seems to be the way to move. And I was,
So, I mean, I know TradrLab. I've used it, and it is
yep,
incredible. I would really advise people to have a go and test it. I mean, it's so user friendly, and for an idiot like me, you really can get your ideas down there. It's just basic, basic language. It's beyond anything I thought that could ever exist, and it's the best thing that I've ever seen, I have to say. And in fact, I need to get back on the platform and practice with it again, especially as you've probably made improvements with it since I was last playing with it.
yeah.
So explain to people how it works, what kind of things you can make it do for yourself on a basic level, how it can assist traders to get their ideas.
Sure. So I've kind of gone into some of the basics there of how it works. Basically, what we're trying to do initially is get that idea as best as possible. But that sometimes I'm finding that traders have ideas, or maybe not have ideas. Actually, when you've got a blank page in front of you, it's like, tell us what you want. You actually find that sometimes they go, I'm not too sure anymore. But that's that's the whole challenge itself. But get that idea into this model. So the way that we do it is this: you can write language, you can use voice if you want, depending on what app you're on, or you can use images. Okay, so it's a mixture of different ways of doing things. You will send as much the information into the AI bot as it is. We will then try to rephrase back to you what we think what you're saying. It can do it in multiple languages. It can deal with people that are dyslexic like me. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Like you can write things backwards, and all sorts of things. You can do it all. So the idea is you put in what you can, and we will try to rephrase back to you what that is. And that might be a bit of back and forth. And you can ask it questions as well. You can say to it, maybe you've got something. You can say, well, I'm not too sure. How best do I use an RSI? And it might be textbook way, and then you can include it with it. You've got to treat these, like you would do with any AI, Chat GPT, or any of these other things that you use. You need to be, I'm going to use the word aggressive. You need to be quite. I'm going to use the word aggressive. Yeah, you need to not that I'm aggressive. I'm quite. I usually say please and thank you or whatever else to what it is. But what I mean is you don't. Sometimes you write something and it might not get it. Yeah, or it might not, and you need to go no. Oh, this is what it is. Now that's if you really really do need something. So the idea is you keep going back and forth and you get something there which you feels right.
It sounds like that process might help the trader actually clarify what he's looking for as well, because a lot of people will go into this with an idea, but not really, a step 2 rule-based system. So this process can actually help the trader understand what they're looking for and how to actually go about it.
Yeah. Well, I think what we do is make whatever it is, it has to be systematic. Yeah, because it's going into a program. And like what you just said there, Jason, basically, some people go, oh, yeah, I know what my trading strategy is. And you say, oh, explain it. And then when they go to explain or write it down, they find it a lot harder to do. Or they use things like, oh, when there's a big move. And it's like, well, what is a big move? We need to define what a big move is. Even if you define it as a range of something, but at least you've got to give it some actual, logic to what you're doing. And it is. Yeah, you're exactly right. So
I like
that process. Yeah, sorry.
Because people think they have a strategy and they don't really. So by using your system, they will quickly realize, oh, actually, I've got an idea, but an idea is not a strategy with steps and rules. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. And the first part of what we do. So I think what we're learning is the platform itself, the way that we have built it is, and I think that probably the traders that we have been around and the traders that we know, everyone that I know kind of thinks in this way. And we're doing some stuff at the moment with some partners, and they are for coders. So we're going to make an interface that's, obviously it's going to not be for coders, but they do it in a very similar way. So I'll just explain that. The first part that you do, we call it a scenario, and it's basically an event, and that event that's happened, and that could be a pattern. It could be multiple different steps. It could be everything that's happened all at the same time. It could be things that have happened over a sequence of time. There's a lots of different combinations. But what it does, that scenarios we call it, that event or whatever you might want. What someone else, I'm calling it an event because that's what the other companies using it. Basically, when that is not got any bias at all. Yeah, it's not got any bias or it's got no order management. It's got no nothing to it. It's basically something that's happened in the past because everything we do is pre trades. Something that's happened in the past that you've looked at and you may have thought, oh, I've seen that go on, and when that goes on, you might have bias in your own opinion. You might think, every time I see that happen, I think the market goes up more, right? But when you first write it out, it's got nothing. Okay.
So you're talking about something like on an hourly chart, I've seen 3 green candles, and I reckon 60% of the time the fourth candle is a big candle.
Yeah,
something like that.
So in the platform, you could look for show me every time there's three green candles, and you could specify what that is. Maybe that range might be those 3 candles might be all individually certain things or a particular range. Then you could go the next candle, the way I would probably do it in our platform, because we're doing data analysis. Again, it's a bit of education. It's sorry, but the way I would do that is look at those candles. Then I would actually ask it, what is the percentage of the next candle? What's the percentage that the next candle is going to be red? And what's the move of it? And then it will say, okay, 60% of them were red, and the average move of the red candle would be X.
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing. Or you can say what the biggest move was, or what the smallest move was, or whatever, Wow. So it's almost breaking it down to understand.
So any observations that you think you've seen in the market that you think might be tradable, you can instantly get data through TradrLab.
Yes. It's a completely data-driven way. I mean, that's the way that I feel that, that we maybe go into a bit more of how the whole market. I mean, data is obviously been around forever. Everyone spoke about data. Everyone's been collecting data, blah, blah, blah. How do you use data is obviously, the next big thing. AI is absolutely amazing for that.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, it's still a learning process.
It's a great tool that you need to understand how to use. So I could, for example, be a scalper on a 10-minute chart and say how many, when the 5-minute moving average crosses over the 20-minute moving average, how often does that lead to a 20 pip gain or something?
Exactly.
I'm thinking along the right lines, am I?
Yeah, 100%. And you can make these more and more complicated. It doesn't mean because it's complicated it's going to be any better, right? So, right, and you start to find these. I mean, sometimes it's quite good as well. That I find is just understanding not just how many times it's happened, but sometimes when you want to trade. So, especially for retail traders, they might have an idea, and that idea might happen too frequently. Yeah, or it happens at night, or it doesn't happen in the time period they want. Now, then, if it is too frequent, you might want to add. I only want to do it when it's in an uptrend. For instance, how you define an uptrend, so it's another whole story in itself. But let's just say we use different moving averages to make it simple. We might just define and then that breaks it down. So your count will go. So that means that you can actually look to go. Okay, well now I've got, on average, in the day, in the week, in the month, whatever you want to do, I've got a roughly this amount of scenarios that particularly are showing me that I could trade. It doesn't mean you will trade.
Sure.
Yeah, there might be other factors afterwards. You might decide, even though that's there, do I still want to trade?
It's a nice process to start building strategies, simple ones.
Yeah.
Can we have a look at it? Can you put it on the screen? Can you share your screen?
I can't because I haven't got it up, and I've got this on here.
Okay.
But if you give me a bit of a warning, we could do. But maybe we could share something in the something afterwards.
Yeah, maybe you could send us something afterwards, and we could drop it into the video. I'll let you discuss it. So
yeah, good idea.
Yeah, you could do a little explainer, because I think it's important to see the platform. It really is so beautifully designed. It's so easy to understand.
Well, I'm gonna interrupt you there, Jason. So what we've done is, so we've built. We're techies and traders. Okay, that's pretty much where we are. The design process, I think, inside the platform. So we're working very closely with some university people and with a company that's very linked with the university. They're doing some great stuff. A company called Zishi that are working with them. So we're going into these universities to speak with people that are learning to trade that we can work with. The reason why is, I've just said that the front end, I would say, inside we've got user experience. We could probably do a lot better. We're going B2B. So what we're doing at the moment, we're talking to partners. We're doing some integrations now. So you'll probably see TradrLab be more integrated into a platform powered by TradrLab. Yeah, I mean, unless they white label it, which they might do, or whatever way that is. But generally, it will be there. The reason why is because, again, it's not to say that our platform today is cool. I would say it's like an engineering platform. Yeah, it's someone you still got to work at it, and there's so many hidden gems inside it. What the best thing for us to do is, which we're doing now, is going we're going to solution providers and brokers. I mean, AI is going to, I think we're all pretty much agree it's going to change. It's not just trading, it's changing everything. There's still a lot to do, right? There's still a lot of things, I think people are running forward. I think we're just getting reports now that how people are putting, or companies, institutions are putting AI tools in there and agents. We've got an agent-based system as well, the way we work. But they're putting these agents in and actually realizing, we actually now need to do a bit of training. We actually now need to get people to think a bit different. So it's quite a process. So our front end is cool. Anyone's more than welcome. Obviously, it'd be great to sign up, to come into the platform. We are offering, we've got a club we've built. It's called the TradrLab Builders Club. We use that as a way we do webinars. We go through. I'm not saying we're an educator at all, but it naturally seems to be doing that sort of thing. Just generally, it's like, what do these indicators do? What does that do? What do these some of these, like, the hard ones, as you know yourself, Jason, I know what you've been doing for many years. The hard ones are things like, trend lines and these wedges and these and all that things. I mean, blimey, they're very, very difficult.
Even I can look at a chart and draw some trend lines and go, hang on, that one's not right. There's no rule really.
No. So we're working with this builder club thing. So, I mean, anyone would be welcome to obviously register, go in, have a play, contact us, and we're more than happy. What we're looking for we've got at the moment, we've got over 200 traders, all different aspects that are in the platform that are helping us build the back end. Okay, that is our most important thing: getting our back end, our agent system working. Being the best at that. So the user experience is probably not the best. It's definitely not the best. I've seen lots of other platforms that look very shiny, very frilly, and I go into them and they look great, but then sometimes I'm not getting what I want. But the functionality is there. So that's why I really more call it more like an engineering platform. That's kind of where my background is. But yeah, we are certainly going out there, getting this into these brokers and these solution providers. They've got the traders, they've got the experience. And I'll tell you what it is as well. I'm learning lots from this as well, Jason, regarding what brokers are looking for.
Really?
And they want a lot of engagement tools. They want these tools to be able to engage their traders. You think it costs them quite a lot of money, to get the trader on board in the first place. They probably go in, they probably do some trades, maybe lose some money or go on a training course and this, and then lose confidence. And then probably a bit like what I did, and I know, as I say, lots of these people in our community do, they then go down the rabbit hole of looking at other software, maybe, trying to put things in spreadsheets, doing it whatever way they can, pulling things together using ChatGPT to do certain bits nowadays, and you're doing all these different bits to try and do that. So the Builders, TradrLab Builders Club is what we've built, is a really great place for us to work very closely with these different types of traders that we've got from all different areas to make the back end much.
Anyone can join this club and be part of
Yeah,
this
anyone could
community.
join. What we're trying to look for, so we've sort of categorized people into. So again, I should be saying, but it just seems to be what the trading world says and what the brokers tell me. You've got sophisticated traders, which are cool. They might actually a small percentage of them probably using other software. Obviously, more than happy to join us, which we've got lots of them people on board, but they might be doing it anyway. So great, good luck. And then you have 45%, they sort of say, which are really want to be able to do it, but just can't do it. And those are the ones that are really, really good. So, again, it's a bit like what we said at the beginning, even though the messaging, come in and create your trading strategy in minutes and, and it's all done and it's not that simple. We want people to come in and actually, it's understanding about trading, understanding about data and learning how to analyze. And we need those people to want to be able to do that. The other 45% just want to be told whether it's going up or down. Right. So I'm not saying that AI is not going to do that in the future. I totally agree with you. And our progression, the way I originally see this, yes, we have got ways in there. You can go in and go, I don't really know what I'm doing. We've got beginners as well in our group. I don't really know what I'm doing. This is the information I've got, or nothing, and it will start to guide you in ways to do
really?
it.
Oh, so I could go in there and say, look, I trade gold. It's been in a strong bull trend. We have periods of consolidation, and then eventually it breaks up and goes higher. Can you start giving me some ideas on how I can make a
Yeah.
profit on an upward trending market? They will actually give you advice, will it? And help you
Yeah,
build
so
a
I'd break that
strategy
down
around
again. Exactly. I'd look at that. Let's look at this consolidating markets. Let's show ways that we can look at consolidated markets. Let's look at ways that we can then look at the breakout of that. Then again, if you were expecting to go in and say, I trade gold, I've got my account size is X, my risk is this, and can you just advise me and just let get on and do it? It's not going to do that today. I don't think that will be possible. Yeah. And that's sort of the area we're going. But I say this is a progression, of going. So we're building what we're doing in the back end as we're learning lots and lots from the prompts and things that have been doing. We do a lot of clever things in there. We would then start to encourage people and show. So that's the whole idea, is just what you said. It starts from someone that's a beginner that can learn, someone sophisticated that wants to do something. We can obviously do that a lot easier for them. That's like your quants, basically. You think of it like that.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I'm off the top of my head, I'm thinking, for me, a bearish engulfing candle, bullish engulfing candle is something that I pay a lot of attention to, especially if it's in the direction of the trend. So that alone, I could build a strategy around that in TradrLab. I could say, when you see a bullish candle on the 60-minute chart or the 4-hour chart, send me an alert.
That then, sort of thing is no problem at all. I mean, the thing is that people need to understand, and a bearish engulfing is a two pattern candle. There could be, again, I might be too involved in this, you know what I mean, to sort of tell, but that could be defined in different ways. Which again, you could define it. Your second candle, you might want it to be extra, engulfing it by a bigger percentage. Right. So this is the thing about trading that I think is quite interesting, is asking the questions why and being curious. Yeah. Because we can all go in, we can say, show me a bearish engulfing. Okay, identify how you want to define what the trend is. Okay, which could be defined. So you do that. And then we'll show you everywhere that's happened. Okay. Now from there, then you've got the next part there. What you want to do is now, okay, what do I want to do next? we can go to a back test. You can go all the way to a back test. How you can do it, you can place order, limit orders and stuff like that in the back test. We're constantly improving it. But the part that I feel that lots and lots of traders, especially the retail, miss is they feel that the back test is like the holy grail. It's almost like, do that, I want a back test. Right. And then sometimes they want to optimize, and then sometimes they just over optimize and fit it to the data, and then wonder why when they actually go to trade, it doesn't really do what they want. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots of techniques, and it's all out on the internet. It's not like, how you do that, how you break data up, how you do things and whatever else.
But basically, this is a real shortcut way for someone who has an idea to explore it, back test it, and build a rule-based strategy.
Yes, 100%. And we've even had, just so from what you said there, even developers, because developers have a framework that they need to do. Sometimes they can come in and just get that first instance, of where it's happened, how it's happened, and whatever else it is. So that gives them that first part there to do straight away. So yeah, exactly what you said, Jason. And you can come in and get that first straight away. Right. Is there something here? Is it worth me doing it? And then you can ask all the questions you want to do.
Yeah, it's terrific that you can then ask it questions and get some suggestions, feedback, ideas.
Yeah. So you can ask questions on the actual model that you've created. You can add to that afterwards. You can create questions on just the raw data. And then you can just ask it, as I say, very open-ended questions, which are quite difficult. So our pattern that we filed we've got a very good framework of when that first part that I told you, when we're having that back and forth to get that part that feels your system. Let's say that's your scenario that you built has to be correct. We can't have any hallucinations. You can't have anything in there that's going to be doing things like that. So that is, done. After that, there's open-ended questions which are interesting because you might ask, which we get all the time, is this any good? What does that mean? Is this any good? What should I do next? And they're just open-ended questions that we can give ideas, suggestions on, and you can take them as it is.
So a typical strategy or scenario would be a combination of price action and one or two indicators, perhaps. Is that that right?
Price action, indicators. We do have we've got some economic data in there as well for news. So you can start very, 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 very crude at the moment. Let's just say, but that's the area is. I mean, what I said there, what we've built in our front end at the moment is like a sort of a show house of some of the stuff that we have and what we can do. We're talking to partners now from different angles. I mean, some of the partners we're speaking to are literally wanting engagement tools for their traders. So in that sort of respect, it could be the matter of that the trader doesn't even have to have the idea directly themselves. It could come from another source, and from that we can send something. Or the broker can send something to them and say, well, now you can go and test that historically. And add your own parts to it, because as you know yourself, even though you might have a certain strategy, you might want to run that on different time frames. You might want to run it on a different symbol. You might want to combine, in a portfolio or whatever you want to do. So what we're doing at the moment, we're working with different companies. Some are big companies, educational, that's looking at what we're doing. That could be very much so. What we would do there is we would make sure that it's going to be very focused on what they want. Inside their sort of area. If it's for a broker, they can use this now, as I say, for engaging their users, but also for like understanding what their users are looking for to then maybe do webinars and stuff like that and whatever else. So we started the project initially, as I said, from being traders, just as I need to do this, so I need to understand more about this data and whether I trade it or not to become more profitable. Which is obviously the goal for the trader, but actually, when you go into a B2B area, they look at it for different sort of reasons. Obviously, they still, they want their traders to stay longer. They want, to check themselves. Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and that's a really good process for you now because you're getting really good feedback from end users, which is obviously what you need at this stage.
Yeah, yeah. The feedback we're getting, over the moon with the stuff that we're getting, and which is brilliant. They seem very, very happy with what we're giving to them as well. As I
Right.
said to you, it's a nice community. We've broken everyone up into nice parts of different groups of abilities and stuff. So we've got a nice crypto trading group as well out there,
Nice.
and stuff like that, which is good. But some of them are just literally beginners that don't really
Mhm.
know too much, and
Mhm.
some are very sophisticated traders that we're challengingly, for some of these things, like yourself, Jason. Obviously, you did come on
Mm.
a platform, and we
Mm.
can certainly go through more. Yeah, some of the things that are quite discretionary. How do you do that? And that is something that we will go down the route to try to do.
Mm.
I've got some, we've got some very good ideas on how to do that, but it's not an easy task. But
No.
yeah, it's coming on really well. I mean, we've amazingly got out the gates very, very early,
Yeah, you really did.
and yeah, we went out, we created a platform. We're realizing that going as a B2C platform is quite tough. And really, as well, to be quite frank with you, the way this AI movement is moving now, I think the best way, which is what we're doing, AI is going to change, brokers and all these, it's going to change the way it is, and it will be in the future. As we say, you'll be able to sit down in the morning and say, hey, what's going on today, and it will tell you exactly the stuff you want. Right? You will be able to say things like, as you say, okay, I've got an account size of 50K. My risk tolerance is this. What do you suggest? Right? So things like that will happen. Okay, but it's
Wow.
going to be a progression. So AI is going to change. We could sit here and talk visionary on how these brokers, I think, have got a lot of work to do, right? And so
Are
to
they
keep
being
up
left
with this,
behind?
yeah, I'm not saying. I mean that might be, my view. I mean, they're doing loads of new stuff as well, aren't they? They're doing lots of things with, fractional shares and different sort of things that's going out there with the crypto world and tokenization and all sorts of things that they're doing out there. So they're doing loads of stuff. But I do believe that AI is going to massively disrupt the way that we do stuff, uh, and we're in that right space for doing that.
So you're saying that in a few years you have this vision whereby I get up in the morning, as usual, I switch on my screen, I have a look, and I'm like, okay, what's happened overnight? And an AI tells me, it understands the way I trade. It knows I'm a trend trader. It knows I buy at
Yeah,
support levels in a bull trend, and it might say to me, okay, Lee, you need to have a look at gold. Um, you might
yeah.
see a support level at last week's low or something like that, and it will just be giving me these heads up ideas for my trading day.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
100%.
that's incredible.
Yeah, that's the way it's going. And then I mean, obviously, you've had lots of other things in it, and then from that, we could probably go into more to do with predictive stuff and things like that, which has been around forever, but
Sure.
it's getting. I think the mixture of the two is really, really interesting. I
Yeah.
think allowing. I mean, especially now, I don't know what it's going to be like in a few years' time, but allowing an AI bots. I mean, to go and do everything automatically sounds a bit dangerous, but that's not to say. I mean, the way that you think the way that this is moving. I mean, there's so many trading bots out there. If you look at obviously things like MetaTrader and stuff like that, they're all over these EAs and they're being resold and everything all the time. There's some great ones or whatever else, but me personally, I like to understand it a little bit more maybe before I would do things.
Hmm.
Uh, that's just my personal thing. But in the future, I think you're going to get that. That's slowly going to move from, as we've just said there, to then you become more confident. If you sit down every day now and it tells you things that's going on, and then you go, okay, well, put a limit order here for me, do this, do that, do whatever else, and then you slowly, then you're going to build up to, okay, well now I might as well create a new work. These are just workflows, aren't they? I'm going to create a new workflow now that rather than me just waiting for me to sit down and it tell me, if I see this, then look to do this. Yeah. And
Right.
slowly you'll get more and more and more confident over time. Well, that's
Sure.
personally the way that I think it will work.
Wow, it sounds fascinating. Sounds like I'll be out of a job in 2 or 3 years. But I need to retire
uh,
anyway. So You might be doing me a favour by putting me out of work.
I don't think so, mate. I think we've got a long way yet before we're all sidelined for sure.
We need to finish up, but actually, I tell you what will be interesting, because since the old days, I'm a live floor trader, and obviously you've been going at it for well over 20 years. We've seen dramatic technology take over the market. I mean, I literally was, the way I traded was shouting and writing it on a card with a piece of paper. I mean, it couldn't have been more analog. Flicking it to my clerk, literally shouting, and a voice, a pencil, and a card. That was how I traded. How rudimentary it was. And now we have all these tools, all these news tools. The information at our fingertips, and just the training and the knowledge and the courses and the free stuff's out there. And yet, I believe that still 90% of traders fail. So it just shows you how much psychology is involved. It will be interesting to see if the technology that you and other people are developing will be able to help traders finally become more profitable, because they're just not at this stage. More people are trading, but the majority are failing.
I think it's a really, really, really good point. One is, there's still definitely more in the retail world that are failing than not. But the thing is, I think what will happen if we, the way it will happen. I mean, if you think a systematic way anyway, it takes that emotion out of stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of naturally happening. I think the AI side of things will generally slowly make that more improved. I mean, so it doesn't mean that I would always, at the moment, right? Well, I'm not saying when, but I would still always want to understand the market. But I think we can certainly take a lot of that emotional side out of it. Which is going to be key. I mean, if we can trade something systematic and we've got nice rules, even if it's not fully automated, right, and you don't have to go down that route. I believe that you've got it, like I said right at the beginning. Even if you're doing something and you're doing it every day, and it's in your own head, you've got some systemized way of doing that. If you can stick to that and you can put it into a system and you can see how it's performing and learn from it. Be curious, asking questions. Markets will always adapt. You're going to kind of keep yourself ahead of the curve. So I do believe that still understanding markets and not just letting some trading bot or some AI just do everything for you is still quite relevant.
I totally agree. Wow, that's a fascinating insight into the future of trading. Lee, anyone who wants to have a look at TradrLab, can they log on? Can they set up an account and have a free go?
Yeah, sure. Everyone's more than happy to register, log on. We can provide some details where they can reach out to us. As we say, we can do with our Traders Builders Club if they want to join that. We're looking for people that are passionate about learning and understanding. It's not something that we're charging for. It's something that works both ways. We're learning lots from what they're doing, and they can learn from us. But we do want people that are quite that are willing to do that understand that. So it's not like we're, not saying that not anyone can join, but you know what I mean. It's
Lee, thank you. You clearly are bringing the future of trading and analysis to the masses. It's very exciting, mate. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure lots of people will want to log on and play with the system. I need to go back to it.
Thanks, Jason. Really, really good, mate. Hope we can speed up that process for everyone. Okay, that's the idea. It's definitely
massive thanks to Lee Sacker for sharing that incredible wealth of knowledge and for giving us a glimpse into the future of trading with TradrLab. The fusion of deep trading experience with cutting-edge AI is just fascinating. If you want to learn more about Lee and the revolutionary work he's doing at TradrLab, be sure to visit their website and connect with him on LinkedIn. You can find all the links you need down in the description below. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, do us a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode filled with insights from the world's top trading minds. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Sen, and we'll see you next time.